Bertish. I'm a big wave surfer, adventurer, stand-up paddleboarder, author and motivational speaker. Sort of feel more confident and comfortable in the ocean than I probably do on land. So I'm the fish without the gills. The SUP Crossing is the most extreme open ocean solo adventure ever attempted. It's to paddle solo and unsupported across the Atlantic, from Africa to the Americas, which is over 7,500 kilometers. That's all for charity and to raise awareness for ocean conservation through the Ocean's Aquarium, to build schools, pay for operations through Operation Smile for kids born with cleft palates, and to feed hungry kids in South Africa through the Lunchbox Fund. I'm actually going from Morocco to the Canary Islands to the Caribbean up to Florida. I'm actually paddling a smile all the way across the Atlantic Ocean, which is quite a nice story because it's actually what I'm supporting. I'm supporting Operation Smile, and to be able to change kids' cleft palates, to be able to put a smile back on their face. The craft that I'm going to be doing the SUP Crossing on is 19.5 feet. It's got a cabin on the front. It's all powered by solar battery banks, which power all the electronics, all the navigational gear, water desalinator units, chart plotters, AIS, sat phones, sat communications. It's probably the most advanced craft that exists on the planet under 20 feet. It's built for one purpose and one goal only, and that's to be able to get me across the Atlantic Ocean in one piece. I'll be paddling, roughly equivalent of a marathon a day for 120 days straight, and I'll be utilizing the winds and the currents that go that route. I think every time you go into the ocean, it's an adventure. It can be very calming and it can be very peaceful, but it can also be a place of great adversity and risk and ferocity. When the conditions are really hectic, that's when I lock myself into my little cabin, which is completely watertight, and I put out what's called a para anchor that keeps you in a sort of stable manner, and the craft is able to turn upside down and roll and then right itself automatically with me inside it. So I expect that to happen. We've already done the testing, and with me inside the craft, turning it over and righting itself, and it's a pretty fun experience actually. I don't know how fun it's going to be in the middle of the night, in the middle of nowhere.
That was sick! Do it again! That was awesome!
I think that's going to be fascinating to be able to see the kind of creatures that I do see, whether it be just whales and dolphins and seals and hopefully a couple of sharks. You're flowing in their environment. You don't have an engine, so you're not intimidating to them. You actually just become part of the ocean ecosystem. I won't be racing Yoshi the turtle, but I'll be racing one of the other turtles that also follows across the same routes as myself, and we're trying to work out who's going to be quickest, either the turtle or myself. So I'm going to race that turtle, but I think he might be a little faster than me, but I'll give him a run for his money. The aquarium does an amazing job and puts a lot of time and money and effort into rehabilitating them, and then the ones that can be put back into the wild get put back into the wild and released, and I think that's pretty incredible, and just to be a part of that is incredibly rewarding. I can store enough food for 100 odd days, mostly free-dried food, vacuum packed, and it's very compact, and you basically add hot water to it and it turns itself into a meal, and then you eat it out of the packet and no dishes. It's fantastic. I have to basically eat between 6,000 and 8,000 calories a day because that's how much I burn. It's a lot of food. I've worked out I basically take 70 kilograms of food on board, and by the time I get to the other side I will have probably eaten about 78 to 80 kilograms, which is myself, so basically I've got to eat myself. One thing with the ocean is if you fight the ocean and the elements in the ocean, you will always lose. So you've got to learn to be able to flow with it and understand how it moves, and then be able to leverage off that. It's about learning to reprogram yourself and how you operate in order to anticipate the longevity that you're going to have to get through to endure, not just doing a marathon or 2 marathons in 12 hours or in 24 hours, but slowing things down so you don't tire yourself out, you don't burn yourself out, you don't get heat stroke, you don't spend too much time in the sun, in the salt every day. Manage yourself so you can keep that up and sustain it for an incredible like length of time. You know, a lot of people look at what I do, whether it be in 60-foot waves or paddling like long distance, and they look at it like, oh, it's crazy, but it's just a natural progression of what you've done. You know, started surfing smaller waves and then continuously pushing it up in your limits until you feel comfortable in a certain space, until you're suddenly surfing waves that look incredibly frightening to most people, but for me it's just been a step up process. And it's the same thing with stand-up paddleboarding and evolving into the 12-hour, 24-hour, 5-day, 7-day, and then this, and it's just, you get comfortable in that space. And you know, I'll definitely have times where it'll be very, very lonely, and you've got to just mentally prepare for that as much as you can. The conditions and the elements are constantly changing, so you're having to be able to see what's happening and then adapt to it. And I think it prepares you a lot for many things in life, because if you can adapt and be flexible in anything you do in life, then you will be successful.